Throuple life. Today we're talking about what it's like. We're answering all your guys' questions you've been writing into us, and we're going to get into the weeds. If you're enjoying this content so far, go ahead and grab that subscribe button by the hair and just give a nice little firm tap on that like button. It really likes it.
Where'd you get that from?
You said you wanted fun.
Why can't you do that?
I just did it. You're going to edit it out.
I never added it. I will leave that in. It will be the first thing right after the intro.
Our
You mark my
subscribers
words.
skyrocket.
That dirty little like button just likes it. And just right there on the bottom. That algorithm.
Not the
loves
only
a
one.
little good. Right on the bottom of that like button.
Little S&M algorithm.
If you're enjoying our content so far, strap down the subscribe button to your St. Andrew's cross. Give that like button a firm but gentle tap right on the bottom.
This is turning me on. What's going on? What is going on? What kind of podcast is this?
Good Lord.
So how is our life different as a throuple than it was? Because we all have had monogamous relationships. How is our life different now than it was before we became a throuple? Char?
I mean, I think the biggest difference is that in some ways it kind of feels like you always have company over.
That's true.
Like you always, or maybe not company because that indicates like a stranger, but like you're always hanging out with your best friends in a group setting. And that's just, that's a different dynamic than just two people hanging out.
That's true. Yeah, it's a lot
More interactive.
more, the house is more animated, like when there's more, and that makes sense, right? Like the kids, and the three of us, and everybody's doing something and listening to music and cooking and cleaning and whatever.
There's always laughter going on. Somebody's making
always
a
something
joke.
happening.
A lot more laughter, a lot more just fun conversation, friendly conversation. Yeah.
And the fact that we work together, that brings a whole new dynamic because we have meetings and that changes things, and we're trying to be serious, but we're doing a really bad job at it. So whenever
We
we
take
have a
turns
meeting,
being mad that the other people aren't taking it seriously.
one of us is like, I'm trying to be serious and you guys are laughing, and that happens every time.
Yes. And then 5 minutes later, it's the serious one making jokes.
Other than that, we have a pretty normal everyday lives with work, school, breakfast. Usually we share the breakfast and cooking duties based on work and whoever wakes up first and things like that. And we never really talked about how to do this, like the breakfast and all of that. It's kind of we just work together.
Yeah, kind of just whoever wakes up first.
Yeah.
Josh and the kids both wake up very hungry, and
Yes.
but Josh doesn't really cook breakfast. He can cook certain things, but
No, we don't want Josh to cook breakfast. It's
Wait.
okay.
I cannot cook.
the one time he made me breakfast. Can I rat you out?
I think we spoke about this before.
Yeah, I think you're right. He made me scrambled eggs with vanilla in them, and I was like, okay, he's not kidding. He does.
Or did you do that on purpose?
He doesn't
You're
cook.
Never.
I
eat
thought you put
breakfast.
vanilla in eggs. I saw her put vanilla in eggs before. I
For
didn't.
French toast.
I didn't know.
So cute.
Yes. So, anyways, all that to say, Liv and I take care of the breakfast cooking responsibilities, get the kids out the door. And yeah, usually we go to the gym first thing in the morning, and it's kind of fun. Like, I've never been one to really work out with somebody else, but Liv and I usually go to the gym at the same time, and it is fun. We're not necessarily working out together, but kind of side by side, or we'll do yoga together. Liv's gotten me into yoga.
Yep.
Oh,
I like to go to the gym later in the day and use up the morning where it's quiet to get stuff done.
And in the evening, usually, especially after the kids go to sleep, we have some adult time, even have a glass of wine, talk more about podcast, laugh,
yes.
you know,
Yep.
stuff like that.
And if any of us are needing a little more one-on-one time, maybe we'll go to bed earlier. Yeah. If it's not my night with Josh, sometimes I'll stay up later and get more work done, or just have some me time. And yeah, that's something that's very different as a throuple than as a couple, is having the me time every other night.
At least in our dynamic, how we do things, since Josh splits his nights between the two of us, then the one that Josh doesn't spend the time with gets all the time for herself. So that's different.
Weekends are are fun. Like we'll have big family breakfast in the mornings. We have a huge griddle outside. So the kids will run around outside and play and make pancakes and fried eggs and all that.
Josh makes us tequila sunrises. We make him pancakes. It's a hand clean the other hand situation. Everybody's happy.
We usually put some movie on, some family movies the kids are all watching.
Yep.
Yes.
The adults will watch another movie later on in the night.
Yep.
On a Saturday night.
Unless we fall asleep.
Which we often do.
We fall asleep watching a movie.
Yeah.
When we go out, we had questions about how we drive, how we are in the car.
Yes.
Like who sits in the front seat and who drives and things like that. Normally, Josh drives.
I drive,
Yes.
but I put a lot of thought into this situation long before it became a situation. So I made sure to get a very large Chevy Suburban, and I got it with 4 captain's chairs.
Yes.
So no matter who sits in the back, it's like we all have an adult captain chair. No one feels like they're sitting on a bench seat or they're a second class citizen.
It's a very
in the Throuple.
roomy car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
And, then the
everybody
kids go all the way in the back.
Yes.
And we alternate. Shar and I alternate. I mean, since Josh is driving most of the time, we alternate who sits in the front seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even like sometimes maybe I'm wearing. Actually, that's when we take your sports car out. If I'm wearing a dress that is way too short, I don't want to sit in the back. It's too hard to get out of it. But that's about it.
I enjoy watching that.
Yeah, there have been times when we're both wearing a short dress and we're like kind of shielding each other, like shooing the. If we're at a ballet place, we're like shooing the ballet. We're like, no, it's
We're
okay.
good.
I got this.
Point is, we're trying to make it fair. Like we take turns, but at the same time, if one of us needs to be in front, it's
Right.
fine. It's not the end of the world if that's the situation.
And I don't know about you, but I don't really keep track of it.
I don't
that
either.
hardcore in my head. Like it's kind of like, oh, I
No.
think I was in the front last time. So
Yeah, and I think that also comes with time. When you're new, you're trying to be more fair and kind of
right.
like. But once like we've been together for enough time to not worry like you're getting more in front seat and I'm getting less or anything like that. So.
Yeah. And when we go out to dinner and it's just the 3 of us, we usually get a booth, like if it's like a steakhouse or something, usually
Right.
like a round booth
Right.
or something.
That's another thing that I don't. At the beginning, I was paying more attention who sits next to you or whatever. Now, like we're all 3 of us, I don't really pay attention. I
Me
sit
either. It
whatever.
doesn't matter to me where
Yeah.
I'm sitting.
Yeah. How do we handle fights? We all had we have different ways of dealing with arguments, and it depends who's fighting with whom. We do try to keep it to the 2 people fighting, if it's just 2 of us fighting, and not interfere. But if there's need to interfere, we do interfere
Yes.
to some extent. It depends. Usually any fight between any 2 of us will affect the entire household. There's no way around it. The energy affects everyone. If Josh and I are fighting, it's going to be sensed in the entire house, right? Or the other way around. So any fight is everyone's responsibility to deal with it.
Yeah, we all have to be kind of aware of how we're responding to it. For me, I do try to not involve myself. Like if you and Josh are having a conflict, I try to not interject myself into it unless, there's an argument happening in front of me. Is like, well, that's kind of all 3 of us. But if I know there's something between you guys, unless you come to me and say, hey, I'm having this problem, like, what should I do? I usually just try to stay out of it and give you your space. I feel like you guys do the same for me too. I think we all do a good job of respecting each other's privacy and not like oversharing.
Right.
And we definitely never trash talk each other to each other.
So it's a nice little blend between privacy and also involving the third if there's need.
Yeah. And like we've kind of talked about before, you have a neutral party, or maybe even beyond that, it's not even a neutral party. It's somebody who is on both of your sides.
Right.
So I'm always rooting for you and for
That's
Josh.
something that we do really well together. If any 2 of us are fighting, the other person will never take sides.
Yeah.
We try to be as impartial as possible because that's very important. You don't want to do that. It's so easy to just get into that bad mouthing or like for anyone. You don't want to bring that energy. You want to actually diffuse that and be the voice of reason for the 2 people that are fighting. Because when you're fighting, you're not really you're not at your best. So
Yeah. And we have learned that usually fights don't get resolved if you're just going at it, at each other's throats when tempers are hot. So you need a chance to cool down. Sometimes that's a couple minutes. Sometimes that's a day. But yeah, just waiting and being patient with each other and actually resolving stuff too, not just like, oh, well, that was yesterday, we're just going to move on. Like, I think I have gotten better about that aspect of it.
So this is something that's better. It's better in a throuple. If you have any issues, it's easier to solve those issues, for me at least, than it would be amongst two people. The biggest issue that I've had with that is, especially when we were not a throuple yet, it's such a private matter to fight two people, like a lover's fight. And then you have this third person that you're not involved with that are witnessing you. So that could be a good thing because it keeps you from being an asshole. But that could also be a very invasive thing. It could be perceived as an invasive thing, like, oh, I have to open up. So that was a little more difficult when we were not a throuple. Now that we're a throuple, I feel much more comfortable to share my good, bad, ugly, in front of both of you and not be so,
Yeah, I agree. That was harder. Yeah.
And just like any relationship, I think it's gotten better over time. The more and more we understand each other, the conflict resolution happens a lot quicker.
It does.
We know where we understand how to communicate better with each other. We know where we're coming from, how we tick or whatever. And also just shredding the ego. That we always talk about, shredding the ego, the inner work or whatever. It's like letting go of the need to be right and win.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the wrong. It's like, I know I'm in the wrong, but I still want to win this. It's like, let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And sometimes too, just recognizing that sometimes fights happen and neither party is in the wrong.
Oh yeah, sometimes you just have a bad day.
Or just miscommunications or just not understanding how the other person is wired to respond to some kind of conflict. So just getting to know each other and being patient as you're getting to know each other.
And is it worth even fighting about? Pick your battles. Like,
well, most fights don't really. Yeah. They're not really worth it. But yeah, some are, I guess. So, like, who gets to sit in the front seat? Like,
cat fight.
Yes. So, how do we make big purchases?
Well, so far, our experience, what we did when we wanted to move from California to Texas, we had to come out here and house hunt. So me and Liv went by ourselves and Char watched the kids. So she just got surprised with the house when she got here. And we took lots of videos and pictures and stuff, but we house hunted for a few days, found something, bought it.
We found the perfect house with 2 master bedrooms.
Yeah, we were like, it was meant to be. Since we bought this house, it's been a total disaster. We thought it was a perfect turnkey home, and there's like everything broke and nothing was covered by warranty. So we had to talk
Some
about
of it was covered.
Yeah, we had to talk about buying a new AC. All the pool equipment one by one broke. So we've always had discussions like, wait, do we want to replace this? And it's usually like, well, what choice you got? Of course, we got to replace it. So
the AC had to be replaced.
There's no way to live in Houston without AC. So so you just buy.
Normally, when it comes to money, I don't really make any decisions. I don't have any. I don't have anything to say about it, so I always defer to Josh.
We usually
whatever you say.
We do usually all discuss it though. We're like, so these are the costs. This is the AC options. These are the financing options.
But I never feel like my opinion is important because I don't have an opinion in that aspect. So it's something that it's easy for me to just not, try to impose any ideas on.
Yeah. Well, none of these were like frivolous either. Where there's like these are the kind of things that come up where you're like, you gotta pay.
Right.
There's nothing. Yeah. There's no way around it.
I feel like the house was the biggest purchase by far that we've made, and that was weird for me, only seeing pictures and like I had never even been out here in Texas until we moved. Like we closed escrow and I flew out here with the kids and about the house sight unseen for me. And that was weird. Like that did take some work on my part to not get worked up about that because
this is such an intimate purchase. It's your home. You want to be part of it. Like I bought a house online before. So to me, it wouldn't be that much of a big deal, but I get it. You want to see it with your own eyes. It's so different.
Yeah. It was weird too, getting here and Josh had driven. So I flew out with the kids. Liv was already here. And then Josh drove. So he came a couple days after me. So it was weird, like even just getting here and not having him here for
Right.
the first couple days. But I was here with
very-
Liv. So
very
I was
displaced.
I wasn't by myself here,
Yeah.
which was, I don't know, that was,
Did
something
you get
kind
your
of cool.
champagne?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
And what was
she
that?
picked us up from the
Texas
airport.
Pecan, praline, whatever.
Yep. Yep.
I tried to bribe her with alcohol and candy.
See how wonderful Texas is.
Exercise everything.
Yes.
Point is, we are pretty traditional as a family, even though there's three of us. The difference is, since we live together and we are all in a relationship together, the differences between us and a monogamous couple are not really that big when it comes to household duties, work, friends, family, who does what, who does grocery shopping and all that. We're very much the same, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
there's
no
differences,
difference.
but it's not a lot.
The only difference is that there's a third person.
Yeah.
But we all pitch in. We all work hard. We all work together on this podcast.
Yep.
We all go out and have fun together.
We're a suburban throuple.
Yep. You'll never know.
I could be living right next door to you right now, and you wouldn't even know it.
Maybe we are living right next door.
Maybe you're our neighbors.
Maybe our kids are your kids' classmates.
Yes.
You have no idea. So the time management aspect is very different, I think, as a couple as a throuple than as a couple. Trying to balance not just between the three adults and then the kids and schools and work schedules and everything. I would say Google Calendar is kind of our lifesavers, and we have like 5 different calendars between all of us, like
Good point. I never
work calendars and a shared
That's a
calendar
good
and
tip.
kids calendars and
You need a calendar.
Yes,
No, you need
you
more
need-
than one calendar.
yeah,
and
you
share
need
it.
Straight.
shared Google calendars.
Yeah. We have shared email addresses. That helps for bills, for accounts, for anything. We share LastPass or any kind of password manager folder, so we can all have access to any of the household utility accounts and any of that. That also helps. What makes it easier for us is the fact that we live together, but we didn't always live together, and that changed the way we managed time and the amount of time we had together. And it took a little more planning when Josh had to spend some time with me.
Or even when you would come to stay with us, like a lot of times you would spend weekends with us.
Right. So it wasn't
And-
a regular weekend. It was like a special weekend. You
Yeah,
had to
so we
clear
cleared
the
the schedule.
Yeah, we clear the calendar.
schedule and-
Yeah, there wasn't any like household chores or anything going on that weekend. Yeah, we would just have a lot of quality time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely changed a lot.
So it took away the amount of time we spent together, but it made the time we spent together much more valuable and of better quality.
It did. I think it also made the time apart a little bit more complicated as well. Because you're trying to balance so much, like when you were there, we wanted to make sure we weren't
Right.
doing other stuff,
Right.
and that would leave a little bit less time to take care of that stuff during the time that you weren't there. So yeah, for those of you that aren't living together, your schedules are going to look different
Yeah.
than,
It'd be a little more complicated, but still very doable.
Yeah.
Yep.
For us, it was a long distance relationship, so it was.
Right.
She was
Right.
she was a distance away, so it wasn't like we could just go,
Right. It
go
wasn't
meet for
just
lunch
easy
that
for
day.
me to just drop
No.
in. Yeah.
So it was, it was more challenging, and we had to make the most of the time when she did come. So
But we did try to see each other every week. And we made the best of it, and we spent time together. And then I'd come to the house and spend time together and spend time with the kids and go out for ice cream and do all kinds of
Yeah.
things. It's great.
it was nice, but it also pushed us to move in very fast.
Yes.
Because we were we did
that's
not
because
like that situation.
That's how we are.
We are. We
Like
moved very
we
quick.
wanted that. We needed that. We wanted to live together.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all knew very, very early on that was the goal, was to all live together.
Right. The point is, like, even if you don't live together with your third, it's still doable. It's a little more challenging to schedule, but the time you spend together, it's good quality time. And it's something to look forward to. If you want to move in together, it'll get even better.
Yeah.
Do it. Let your neighbors know. Call mom, tell her. Thank you for helping to normalize alternative relationship structures by liking, subscribing, and sharing with people just like yourselves.
If you're living in a throuple or quad, please comment below with your favorite thing about all living together.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
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 How do we handle fights? Well, first of all, we never fight.
We're fighting right now, and you can't even tell.
Yeah, we're very angry at each other right now.
This is the worst episode we've ever done.
I'm going to put that in the outtakes.